Chapter 1 First Day in the Saddle, Audiobook Edition. Benny Mendelberg stood in front of Rancho San Miguel with his brother Ari and 2 canvas bags that held everything they owned. The ranch house sat low and white against the brown hills. Corrals to the left, a barn to the right. Horses moving inside the fence rails. A man walked out of the barn, thick through the chest, gray threading his beard. He wore a wide-brimmed hat and carried a coiled rope. 10 feet away he stopped and looked them over with the careful attention of someone judging livestock. "You the Jewish boys?" His voice was flat, not hostile, just asking. Benny set down his bag. "Yes, sir. Benny Mendelberg. This is my brother, Ari." The man's eyes moved from Benny to Ari and back. He took in their thin clothes, their wrong boots, the way they stood. Benny was 19 and built solid through the shoulders. Ari was 17 and thin as fence wire. Neither of them looked like they'd ever worked a day on a ranch. "I'm Dutch Harris. I run this place for Don Fernando." He shifted the rope from one hand to the other. "You ever been on a horse?" Benny felt his stomach tighten. He had practiced this answer on the train. "In Russia." "What kind of horse?" "A wagon horse." The words came out smaller than he meant them. "You sit on it?" "No." Dutch's expression didn't change. "Then you haven't been on a horse." He pointed at their bags. "Bunkhouse. 3rd building past the barn. Then come back." They walked across ground baked hard as brick, dust puffing up with each step. The sun pressed down on their shoulders like a hand. Ari looked at the distant mountains. "Those are bigger than I thought," he said. "Everything here is bigger," Benny said. The bunkhouse was long and low with a tin roof that ticked in the heat. Inside, 2 rows of bunks lined the walls. A pot-bellied stove squatted in the center. The air was thick with sweat, tobacco, and old coffee. 3 men sat playing cards. One was Mexican with a thin mustache. One was black, broad-shouldered, gray at the temples. One was white, with 2 fingers missing on his left hand. The black man set down his cards and stood. "Are you the new hands?" Benny's throat was dry. "Yes, Benny and Ari Mendelberg." The man held out his hand, grip firm and calloused. "Moses Jackson. People call me Mo." He pointed at the others. "That's Esteban. That's Polk." Esteban nodded. Polk looked at them once, took in their clean shirts and soft hands, and went back to his cards without a word. "Dutch sent you?" Mo asked. "He told us to come here first." "Then drop your gear and get back out there. He doesn't like waiting." Dutch stood by the corral with a younger man, maybe 25, wearing leather chaps and spurs that jingled when he moved. He had dark eyes and a thin mustache. "This is Esteban Ruiz," Dutch said. "Don Fernando's nephew, and the best hand we got. He'll teach you if you can learn." Esteban looked them over the way a man eyes a horse he might buy. "Can you ride?" His English was clear but accented. Benny glanced at Ari. "We're learning." "Can you rope?" "No." "Brand?" "No." Esteban looked at Dutch. "What can they do?" Dutch spat into the dirt. "They're strong, and they showed up. That's more than most." Esteban walked to the corral fence. Inside, a dozen horses stood in the shade of the barn, tails swishing at flies. "You see that brown one? The mare with the white foot?" Benny squinted. The horses all looked dangerous. "Yes." "Get on her." Benny climbed the fence and dropped into the corral. He walked toward the mare. She walked away. He walked faster. She trotted. He tried to cut her off. She turned and went the other way. Behind him, Polk laughed. "Gonna be a long day." Esteban climbed in. He walked straight to the mare. She let him come close. He put his hand on her neck and spoke to her in Spanish, low words that sounded like comfort. Then he motioned to Benny. "Come here, slow." The mare's eye was large and dark. "Put your hand here. Let her know you." Benny touched her neck. Her coat was warm and smooth, muscles shifting beneath. Esteban showed them the bridle, the saddle, how to cinch it, how to check it would not slide. Then he stepped back. "Now you get on." Benny put his foot in the stirrup and pulled himself up. The mare shifted, and he nearly pitched sideways, grabbing the saddle horn in panic. He swung his leg over, heart hammering. He was on the horse. The mare stood still. Benny sat very straight. "Good," Esteban said. "Now walk her." "How?" "Press with your legs. She knows what you want." Benny pressed. Nothing happened. He pressed harder. The mare walked forward 3 steps and stopped. He pressed again. She walked. He pulled the rein left. She turned left. He made it halfway around the corral before she stopped and refused to budge. "That's enough. Ari, your turn." Ari got on. The mare walked for him. Then she stopped, lowered her head, and bucked once. Time slowed. Ari flew forward over the mare's neck, the world tilting sideways. Sky became ground. In that endless instant, the prayer came unbidden. Shema Yisrael. He hit the ground hard. The impact punched every ounce of air from his lungs. Dust filled his mouth, his nose. Somewhere, far away, laughter. Mo and Polk laughed. Esteban did not. "Get up," Esteban said. Ari lay in the dirt. His chest burned. Slowly, air came back. He rolled to his side and pushed to his knees, hands scraped and bleeding. "Get back on." "Now?" His voice was thin. "Now." Every part of him wanted to walk away, but he pulled himself up and swung his leg over. This time, he gripped tighter. The mare walked. She did not buck. He made it around the corral once. Dutch called from the fence. "Esteban, take them to the south pasture. Show them what work looks like." They rode out of the ranch yard into country that stretched to the horizon, land wide and brown, grass growing in sparse patches. In the distance, cattle moved in a dark cluster against the hills. "Those are ours," Esteban said. "About 200 head. We check them every day." Benny's legs ached, his back ached, muscles he didn't know he had announcing themselves with every step. 20 minutes that felt like hours. When they reached the cattle, Esteban pointed. "You see that calf? The one with the twisted leg? He's stuck in a gully. We get him out." They rode closer. The calf was wedged between 2 rocks, bawling. The mother cow stamped and lowered her head. Mo rode to hold her. Benny and Ari got down. Grab the calf. Pull him out. The calf was small but muscled and terrified. Benny grabbed the front legs while Ari seized the back. They pulled. The calf bucked and kicked. Ari lost his grip and went sprawling. Benny held on, gritted his teeth, and pulled again. The calf came free with a sudden jerk. The mother cow bellowed from deep in her chest and charged. 800 pounds of muscle and maternal fury coming straight at them. Shema Yisrael. Mo's horse cut her off. Esteban waved them back. Mount, fast. Benny climbed on, hands shaking. They rode away. The cow stood over her calf and glared. Good, Esteban said. You did not run. I wanted to, Ari said. Everyone does the first time. By the time they returned, the sun sat fat and orange on the horizon. Benny's legs had gone from pain to numbness. Ari slid from his horse and nearly collapsed. Dutch met them at the barn. How'd they do? They stayed on, Esteban said. That's something. Good enough for today. Supper's in an hour. Tomorrow, you start at dawn. Inside the bunkhouse, a new man sat at the table. Younger, maybe 19, with shock red hair that refused to lie flat, and freckles across his nose as if someone had flicked a paintbrush at him. You the new boys? He jumped up, grin wide and gap-toothed. I'm Caleb Turner, got here last week. Where are you from? Russia, Ari said, lowering himself carefully onto his bunk. Caleb's eyes went wide. Russia? What brings you here? We needed work. Well, you picked the hardest kind. He bounced on the balls of his feet. You Jewish? Benny paused with his boot in his hand. Yes. Caleb tilted his head. Huh. Never met a Jewish person before. You look regular enough. Mo turned from the basin, water dripping from his face. Caleb, shut up. What? I'm just talking. You're being a fool. These boys are tired. Let them rest. Caleb shrugged. No offense meant. Benny set his boot down. None taken. Supper was at the main house, a long table with benches, the air smelling of beef and beans and strong coffee. A gray-haired woman with kind eyes brought out heaping plates. Esteban introduced her as Señora Ruiz, his aunt, who cooked for the hands. Bienvenidos, she said, setting plates in front of Benny and Ari. At the head of the table sat an older man with white hair and a thick mustache that drooped past his mouth. A silver watch chain crossed his vest. His hands were gnarled with work, but his shirt was clean and pressed. He watched the hands eat without speaking, cutting his meat carefully, chewing slowly. When the plates were nearly empty, he set down his fork and looked down the table. You are the Mendelberg brothers. Not a question. His English was precise, each word shaped deliberately. Benny swallowed. Yes, sir. I am Fernando Ruiz. This is my ranch. A gesture at the room, the house, the land beyond. My family has owned this land since before the Americans came, since before there was a Colorado. Every man at the table was watching. I hire good men who work hard. I do not care where they come from or what god they pray to. He paused. You work hard, you stay. You do not, you leave. Understood? Yes, sir. Don Fernando's expression softened slightly. Esteban will teach you. Listen to him. He stood, his chair scraping the floor. Eat, rest. Tomorrow, you work. His boots echoed in the hallway. A door closed. The hands finished in silence. Mo walked them to the barn afterward and showed them how to clean the leather, oil the straps, hang the saddle properly. His hands moved with the ease of long practice. "You boys did all right today," he said. "Most greenhorns fall off 5 times their first day. You only fell once." "Is it always this hard?" Ari asked. "At first. Then your body learns. Give it a week." "A week?" Mo smiled. "Maybe 2. Stars filled the sky in numbers Benny had never seen. In Russia, the sky had been small, pressed down by clouds and smoke. Here, it stretched on forever. Inside, the bunkhouse settled into quiet. Caleb wrote a letter, tongue caught between his teeth. Polk mended a shirt. Esteban sat cleaning his rifle, metal parts spread on a cloth. Benny and Ari lay down. The bunks were hard. They were too tired to care. His body ached everywhere. His hands were blistered. But he had stayed on the horse. He had pulled the calf free. He had not quit. "Benny," Ari whispered. "What?" "Tomorrow is Friday." Benny opened his eyes. The ceiling was dark. He had forgotten. Friday meant the Sabbath. It meant rest. It meant stopping while the world moved around you. "I know," he said. "What do we do?" Silence stretched between them. Breathing. The tick of cooling metal from the stove. Wind against the tin roof. Across the room, Mo spoke without turning over. "You boys need to rest on Saturday?" Benny hesitated. "It's our custom." "I heard of that." Mo's voice was neutral. "You don't work 1 day a week." "Yes." A pause. Somewhere outside, a horse whinnied. "Well, cattle don't know what day it is," Mo said. "But talk to Dutch tomorrow. He might let you work on Sunday instead. Some of the hands switch days." Relief washed through Benny. "Thank you." "Get some sleep. Tomorrow's harder than today." The bunkhouse went quiet. Polk's snoring started up, steady as a clock. Somewhere below him, Ari began to whisper. Hebrew words, spoken into the darkness, soft as breath.